Hi guys, on this show we're looking at Lang, Allen, Christ, Cox, Farina, Noonan and Petersen.
What are you laughing at?
Cox.
Fucking hell, mate.
We're looking at 1986's Manhunter.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of 100 Things We Learned From Film. I'm one of your hosts, my name's Planty, and I'm in the Garden of Eden, honey.
And I'm John and I'm just bewildered. By you, buddy, by you.
Bewildered indeed. John, how are you?
I'm alright, buddy. How are you? The dark nights are fair drawn in up here, so
exactly.
it's a bit dark.
Yeah, we're just a couple of days away from the clocks going back. Yeah, so
spring forward, fall back. Spring forward,
lousy
back.
Farmers. Well, John, this week, of course, we are talking about a film very special, very dear to the heart of the woman in my life, Rachel, who chose this one because she's sick of watching shit films with me. So she picked one of her favourites. What did she pick for this?
She picked an amazing film, 1986's Manhunter, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was brilliant. Loved it.
I thoroughly enjoyed twice as well. I don't know if this is going to make a very good episode, though.
It's bleak, man.
Oh, it is
proper bleak.
Brutal, bruv. Yeah,
proper bleak. But no, there's a few things in it, but yeah, it's not like a happy one. It's pretty dour.
Indeed, it is. 1986. What else could we have been talking about?
Well, if our good listeners want to go back and listen to our Highlander episode, they will soon find out.
Well, what a year for films!
I know,
Highlander
it was really
and
good.
this.
Oh, you're in for a treat if you listen to the films that was on back then.
You're getting lazy, John. I'm going to have to mix this up.
Nope.
I wonder if that works. I wonder if people listen to this and go, fucking hell, they did Highlander. Let's go back and listen to that.
I think it does.
If you have ever listened to an episode and gone, fucking hell, I didn't realise I did an episode of that, tell us somewhere on social media, by the way. That would ratify John's shoddy research behaviour.
Just let me know if this tactic worked, because just pushing them on to other shows.
Exactly.
Although I did enjoy Highlander. I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, it's a great episode. Yeah, it's one of the very first ones we got 100 on as well.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, yeah. So, right, look, if you want to choose an episode, you're not going to be able to because you're not married to either of us. But you can do so by being a member of our Patreon. It costs £1 a month, and we will give you a choice of probably about 4 or 5 films once a month to pick from in the poll. We haven't done it for November yet, so get your quid in, and you'll be able to pick from those. We will also give you shout-outs and some more shout-outs at the end of the episode. £1. €1 fucking 50, $2, a couple of fucking groats, whatever, right? That's all it's going to cost you. You're going to keep us doing this, and we're going to probably insult you at the end of the episode. Yeah, absolutely. Right, we're going to try and figure out 100 things from Manhunter. Okay, right. So it opens with this DEG, John, De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, which was a brand new one for us.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard of this one.
Done a De Laurentiis Entertainment Group.
I grabbed the producer.
Right, okay.
The producer.
Yeah, the producer. What did you have for the producer?
Oh, Richard Roth. So I thought I remember that name, but he was one of the producer for The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother. With old Gene Wilder.
Oh, I haven't thought about that for donkeys.
It's been a while, hasn't it? And young Igor for Young Frankenstein.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, God, I can't believe Feldman, I can't think. Yeah, Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman, yeah.
You ain't got nobody.
Still makes me laugh.
It is great. Yeah, it is great. Frau Blucher. Didn't get that joke until I was in my 30s.
Oh, really?
Never got that joke until I was in my 30s. Yeah, Blucher, I think German for glue, I think, which is why the horse is upset. Excellent. Okay. I had Dino De Laurentiis, John, Italian producer, financed some absolute belters, this guy. Flash Gordon, Halloween 2 and 3.
Woofed.
Yeah. Right. Maximum Overdrive. Potentially a future episode.
Do we need to?
Do you know that's Stephen King's only directorial film?
Is it really?
Yeah, for a good fucking reason. Cocaine fueled that film. All the Conan films.
Really?
And all of the stupid follow-up Hannibal films.
Ah, right, okay.
But not Silence of the Lambs.
The best one. I think he done Red Dragon as well.
Yeah. I know. Anyway, we'll get back to those at some point. Early shout out, basically, for Fact of the Episode. He opened DDL in the 80s, a specialty food shop. 2 of them in New York City and 1 in Beverly Hills. Apparently, the New York City shop opened by himself serving customers.
Wow, that's commitment, isn't it? Yeah, just get out there and do it.
Absolutely. Died in 2010 at 91 years of age.
Oh, man. Poor guy.
This one, of course, Michael Mann film. You know him. Heat. Not only did he direct Heat, but he's written a follow-up Heat book.
Oh, really?
Like a follow-up to the film Heat as a novel. He's got a great ass, of course. Miami Vice film and TV show. But he's also directed adverts for Mercedes-Benz, Nike, and Ferrari.
Right, yeah, I had a few of them. Heat was my favourite.
Again, can't help thinking probably everything he's ever done fueled by cocaine.
Yeah, he's certainly got he's got a rhythm.
He's got a style, hasn't he? Now, right. This looked fucking brilliant, by the way.
Oh, the blue light. It was practically neon. It was beautiful.
Beautiful. Blue, the white, the greens, everything. Right. Oh, the set fucking dressing was gorgeous.
Even the reflection in the window when he's everything's amazing.
Yeah, it's about time we had a film that I've written like notes, and every time I've been writing the notes, I've gone fucking gorgeous. So, listeners, stunning. Stick with me because at different bits, I'm going, this is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, even the opening scene when he's sitting in the beach thing with his partner is just a beautiful shot. It's just well made, just well shot.
Absolutely. We open with this torch heading upstairs in slow motion. There's a lot of slow motion, by the way, which is the only bit I thought was a bit shitty.
The intro was the only bit that I didn't think was good,
but also this bit where it's, you know, the torch heading upstairs and doing whatever. This is used later on when he's in the house shining the torch around. It's exactly the same.
Oh, is it?
Footage? Yeah, it's a proper like footage rob. So they've done it just to save on film, I think. Which, you know, when they used to make film on film and it wasn't digital, I guess that makes sense.
Way back in magnetic tape, what do they call it? Half inch tape?
VHS, half-inch tape, John.
12.7 millimeters. It was for computers, data storage, and reel-to-reel. Ooh, reel-to-reel.
Reel-to-reel featuring the mad stuntman. I like to move it. Anyway.
Movie.
A worse film. Anyway. I loved the fact that as they're doing this kind of, as they're going through this, it gets to the bright, illuminous green title, Manhunter, which looks like it should be something out of some 80s horror film, didn't it? Like Manhunter. I expected a fucking crocodile or something in the sewers.
It's something vicious, but no, I know what you mean.
Production designer, John, best name I've ever seen. Melbourne. What's he called? Melbourne.
Jason's brother.
On the beach that you mentioned, Jack's talking to Will Graham. Will Graham, 2 first names. What a prick.
I know.
Been a while since you've done 2 first names, isn't it?
I know, but it's a good actor though. Is it?
Gil Grissom.
Gil Grissom, that's right. Yeah. God, I forgot he did that.
Yeah. Dennis Farina, you're right. R.I.P.D. that guy. We love Dennis Farina. The second film we've done with him, Big Trouble, we hated it. Yeah. But he's Dennis Farina in it up. Gil Grissom, William Petersen, not doing anything these days because he's getting fat off that CSI money, isn't he?
Oh, he really is, isn't he? That was his cash cow.
15 seasons of that, 337 episodes.
That's a lot of episodes, man.
Who are you? Who? I prefer the New York one myself, Gary Sinise.
I like Gary Sinise. I think Gary's a good actor.
Claire Filani. Yes, please. Back to Gil Grissom, by the way, William Petersen. He's a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. which he got in 2009, and get a load of this, turned down the role of Henry Hill in Goodfellas.
Oh, really?
What a twat.
That's a fucking dick move, isn't it?
I am calling it now. He is perfect for this role.
Oh,
he
yeah.
is the perfect Michael Mann, like detective, kind of suave, kind of little bit of beard, kind of 80s. Yeah, I think probably too old for the Henry Hill.
Possibly,
Yeah.
but for this, he's nigh on perfect. I couldn't imagine anybody else doing this.
No, absolutely not. Will explains that he's quit, and Jack's trying to convince him to come back. He passes him these pictures of these murders' families and explains killer's on the lunar cycle, and they've only got a few days until the next full moon when he's going to kill again.
Oh, did you look up lunar cycle serial killers?
I didn't know.
I did. Oh my god! No,
and now you're on a register.
No, very much. But it wasn't that. So there's no serial killers that follow a lunar cycle. But I did find out that Dennis Nielsen, Colin Ireland, Olivia Lynn Majors, Harold Shipman, and Ed Kempner were all born under a full moon.
All right. Wow. Harold Shipman, Nottingham's finest.
Not anymore.
Excellent. That's
some big hairs in there, big man.
Yeah, absolutely. The lunar cycle phases are new moon, waxing crescent. I used to deliver letters there. First quarter, waxing gibbous. You're a waxing gibbous. Full moon, waning gibbous. Third quarter, and waning crescent. I sold a house there once. The cycle repeats once a month. Or 29.5 days, which I was like, okay, don't really know how that works. Didn't look into it because didn't have time. Ran out of time looking into fucking cars.
I thought there was only 3 stages.
Full moon.
Half moon. Totally eclipse.
Little Jaffa Cake reference for you there, listeners.
I love it.
How would you like these 90s Jaffa Cakes advert references? Are they doing anything for you? This, of course, is based upon the book Red Dragon by Thomas Harris, which was released in 1981. Dennis Farina's character is Jack Douglas. For my money, I think he's the best Jack Douglas. I think he's certainly much better than Lawrence Fishburne, better than Harvey Keitel, and I think he's marginally better than the dour Scott Glenn in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
He's really kind of like, he's really kind of like measured and methodical in that. And I think she gets quite emotional, understandably why she gets emotional in it. But I think this version is really kind of like, he's up to fucking 11, isn't he? Like shouty and fucking.
He's always ordering Learjets, isn't he? Give me a Learjet.
Yeah, give me a Learjet. I also love every time he gets somebody. You're on speakerphone. Who am I talking to? He's like, it's me. It's such and such. It's such and such. I love that. He's like, you're on speakerphone. Who am I on with? It's great. Fucking buzzed for that every time he did it. I think this is better than Red Dragon as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
A lot better.
No, definitely.
Although, I think Rafe Don't Call Me Ralph Fiennes is very good as Dollarhyde. He's not scary enough as the Dollarhyde in this. I think the Dollarhyde in this is fucking brutally scary. I think because he's like a big, I'm a big scary man.
And he looks bad. Yeah. He still looks like his character in RoboCop 2, though, didn't he?
Kane's bugging me.
Kane, take this cocaine.
We see Will Graham's family walking along the beach. He says he's going to consider it. Will's now showing his son how to build a pen for the baby turtles so that the predators can't get them before they make it to sea.
Aww.
Right. Turtles. 2-month incubation period. Turtle hatchlings dig out of their nest all at the same time, which takes days. And only about 1 in 1,000 turtles survives to adulthood. The hatchlings will either die of dehydration or birds, crabs, or other animals like dogs are going to prey on them and eat them.
Jesus, what chance do they stand?
Who'll save the baby turtles? Save me from the wee baby turtles.
I know, but don't they come equipped with shurikens and ninja swords?
Yeah, They do. They've got a rat teaching them how to fucking do ninjutsu. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. This kid, by the way, this fucking little kid actor, right, who I looked into, I was like, hang on a second, is this Ricky Schroeder out of Champ?
Oh no, you know Ricky Schroeder, man.
He's got Ricky
that
Schroeder
look, no,
out
hasn't
of Champ.
Yeah, he's got it. I was expecting to start crying when he's.
Mate, don't get me started.
It gets me every time, man.
I cannot. Oh, fuck it. But the problem with the Champ is I start crying the second the film fucking starts.
I know. It's
as soon as the kid comes on the screen at the beginning, I'm like, oh no. Oh man, I tell you what, I would love to see somebody punch him to death now.
That little boy?
No, not Ricky Schroeder.
John Voight?
John Voight, yeah, someone should punch him to fucking death. Or like an anaconda should eat him and spit him out. That would be nice.
Properly this time.
Yeah, absolutely. This kid actor, by the way, real name, David Seaman. He looks very, very different without the moustache and the Barnsley accent, doesn't he? Yeah.
Is it really David Seaman?
That's what the kid's name is, yeah, David Seaman. One for patron Dan Belson here. David Seaman played 405 games for Arsenal, winning the First Division once, the Premier League twice. He won the FA Cup 4 times, which is twice more than Forest have won it in total. The League Cup once, and the Cup Winners' Cup 2. 75 caps for England, and surely most famous for being lobbed by Ronaldinho and Naeem from the halfway line. Sorry, Dan, but it did happen twice.
Yeah, but how did he do in Dancing on Ice? Oh no, was that one?
Dancing on Ice?
He done one of those programs, didn't he?
Jesus Christ. I can't say I've ever... I think I watched Todd Carty
yes,
once. I seem to remember him pretending to go barreling off and kind of that's the joke. Jesus. Is that show still on? Listeners, don't tell us. I don't want to know.
I know. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't watch ITV, and I don't watch ITV because Ant and Dec. There you go. That's reason alone.
ITV. Said like an Englishman. ITV.
There's this scene in bed, and again, it's meant to be the moonlight, isn't it? And it's blue. It's bright neon blue every time in this room. I just... The filter on these fucking lights must have been something else. How much money must Michael Mann spend on film? Like, they must just go, let's send out for loads of fucking rap for the lights. And whoever creates rap must follow him about. Lady, he's putting my kids through college.
It's so blue that you think as soon as somebody smells, you'll see it as a black light. Like going, it doesn't. Obviously, it's just the light, but it's just so dazzling, isn't it? It's
like fucking Betty Blue and his blue walls. They're discussing him going back, and she says, look, I know you've already made the decision. He says, I'm not going to get as deeply involved this time. So something's happened, and we don't really know what. I'm just going to be looking at the evidence. So it's alluded to that there was a problem in an earlier case. Yep. She doesn't want him to go back, but because he's a man in a Michael Mann film, all he needs to do is shag her instead of talking to her.
Yeah, that works.
Would that it were so simple, John Boy.
Make love, not excuses.
Will's taken to the crime scene at the Leeds house. Dirty Leeds. I've written here. In this police cruiser, which was a Chevrolet Impala.
Yeah, came across that before, haven't we?
We have, yeah. He's got this brilliant Sony dictaphone, by the way.
So, have you got any facts on dictaphones?
I got a little bit. What have you got?
So I've got this. So dictaphone is actually a trademark. Dictaphone was an American company founded by Alexander Graham Bell that produced dictaphone machines.
All right, okay.
So it's actually a trademark, but because it's like Hoover's in it, we call it Hoover because of Hoover.
So, Tannoy. Yeah. It's a brand name, you fool. This particular one, John, was a Sony micro cassette recorder M560V. You can get one for $59.94 on dictaphones.co.uk.
God, they've got their own.
Now, if anybody ever thought I was making up fucking facts on this podcast, it has got to be that website. But I'm not kidding. Dictaphones.co.uk is a real website.
Get it.
I mean, yeah. How much did that cost at fucking GoDaddy.com? Like a penny. A penny for 2 years or something. It's like our podcast.
Get involved.
Exactly. Half-inch VHS you mentioned, John. Available, as you say, reel-to-reel cartridge cassette. But cassette, as we would know it, VHS and beta.
Yeah, the loser.
This
The
is where
loser of the format.
Yeah, better format though, eh? Better format. He goes into this crime scene,
Yep.
and he's walking around doing the talking thing, isn't he? And he's got these family's home movies, which he's watching later on.
Yeah.
It looks like fucking Sinister, previous episode.
Yeah, so it does. Yeah.
There's still bloodstains on the carpets. Of course, there's still bloodstains on the carpets because it's cream carpets because it's the 80s.
Exactly, and everybody loved it. And what was the blood type?
AB negative.
Are you sure? I thought it was positive.
AB? No, I'm positive it was AB negative, which is the rarest of the blood types.
Ooh.
Yeah. There you go. Because they can, if you've got AB, you can take on either of the blood types. You can take on A, positive, negative. Anyway, yeah. So,
right.
What the one thing I did look up here was they needed a better somebody to do a crime scene cleaning. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, this is from the Safe Group website. Safe Group is one of the UK's leading crime scene cleaning specialists. We work with emergency organisations and other agencies to ensure areas affected by traumatic incidents are cleaned safely and sensitively. Our specialist biohazard cleaning teams can be deployed at any time of day or night, and we use the latest techniques to remove all hazardous materials and substances and arrange for their safe and sensitive disposal. They have got 4 depots in the UK, John.
Mm-hmm.
Birmingham, Manchester, London, and where?
Glasgow.
No, Livingston.
And Livy?
Livingston. I assume near the spaghetti ad, the Tony Macaroni Stadium.
Must be bad that way then, eh?
Livingston. I mean, Livingston's a fucking crime scene of its own, right?
It's pretty bad. I used to work out there. Didn't
I also found a job listing for a crime scene cleaner in Newport, South Wales. Speaking of fucking crime scenes, by the way.
Oh.
Famously, the Middlesbrough of Wales. It's got a transporter bridge. We're looking for a highly motivated individual to join our team of mobile crime scene cleaner candidates. You'll be required to work both individually and also as part of a team. Due to the nature of the position, applicants will be working on a call-out basis and will be required to travel. Full training will be given, a company vehicle provided, and all fuel costs covered. A full clean driving licence is crucial.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Employment is subject to a successful police clearance application. Full-time salary, 17,925 to 41,582. Not bad.
That's all right.
Per year. Not bad. Not bad.
That's all right. So that location, Birmingham, is that Birmingham, UK, or
Birmingham, Alabama? No, it's Birmingham, UK, but Alabama comes up here, doesn't it?
Is it? Yeah, because I looked up, because when it says Birmingham, I thought, oh man, it's going to be massive. But I looked up the population for Birmingham, UK, which is 1.1 million, but there's only 856,000 in Birmingham, Alabama, considering it's the 3rd largest city in Alabama.
All right, okay. Well, Birmingham's like the 4th largest city in the UK, isn't it? Like Glasgow and Manchester and London.
Yeah, true that.
By the way, John, you're absolutely right. Blood type AB positive.
Oh, is it?
You were right, I was wrong.
Oh.
Just 2% of donors have it.
Yes.
And it's universal, was what I was trying to say. So they can accept blood from A's or B's. There you go.
A's to the B's.
A to the B. Right. Let's get back to this fucking film. He mentions that the break-in was professional. The gloves that were worn means that there's no fingerprints. He cut Charles Leeds' throat and then shot Mrs. Leeds before strangling her. The phone rings and it's Valerie Leeds' voicemail message, which was weird. I didn't really get that. The next scene, he's going up to his hotel room.
Before that, though, I've seen a little fox par there. He was drinking water at the bathroom tap.
Oh yeah.
It's not recommended. You shouldn't be drinking water at a bathroom tap.
Oh right, why?
I didn't know this. So I looked at this up, and it just says to sum up the answer: is it safe to drink bathroom tap water? Not really. Even though homes and hotels are supplied with water for drinking, there's too many variables to consider to completely guarantee your safety. So even though it comes from a different source, but they can't guarantee that it's safe. So
is this? I assume this is America, because
no, that's the same as well. I never drink at the bathroom tap. Do you?
I don't know. I mean, I brush my teeth.
I brush my teeth. You spit out, but
I don't know. Yeah. All right, fucking listeners, tell us.
This is a warning, people.
Fucking hell! I mean, I just drink out of a fucking puddle in the yard because I'm a coal miner's son, although I don't bang on about it
much.
He goes up to this hotel, by the way, in this fucking Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, which looks like the lifts out of that mall scene in Commando.
I was going for what was the other one? True Lies.
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah. Do it slow. Do it dulcimo.
Dulcimo.
He's watching these home videos in his room. We get from this that he's dedicated and extremely involved. He believes the killer took off his gloves to touch Mrs. Leeds before killing her 5 minutes later. He calls Jack and explains he wants the best fingerprint guy flown in for the job, and he wants Mrs. Leeds' bits dusted. He seems to think that there's talc there and that there'll be a latent print. Talc in its natural form contains asbestos, so it might dry your fucking bits, but it'll also give you cancer. So enjoy that.
Nice.
A latent print is an impression of the friction skin of fingers or palms of the hands that has been transferred to another surface.
There you go.
He picks up the phone and calls Molly at home. She's still in the blue room, which is brilliant. Looks fantastic. Made me want to watch Scarface again, by the way. All these sucking lights. Yeah, absolutely, really good. Rachel's never seen Scarface, by the way. So that's definitely something to get her to watch. Especially, I think I've probably got it like Manhunter on standard definition DVD. In this next scene, this chap's explaining with this set of plastic teeth that they've taken bite marks from Mrs. Leeds' body and the previous.
Who was that man? Who was that man?
Oh, the guy. I don't know. He looked very familiar.
He was Bennings for The Thing.
Is it really? Wow, good notice.
The wee ginger, you can't. The listeners can't see, but he's the one. And they burn him alive. And
yeah. Oh, fuck it! What a spot, John. Well done. Yeah. According to InnocenceProject.org, nearly a quarter of people exonerated since 1989 were wrongfully convicted based on false or misleading forensic evidence in bite marks. In 2009, the National Academy of Sciences in America released a groundbreaking report, no less, detailing problems with many forensic techniques in use of criminal proceedings. The report raised issues about the, quote, substantial rates of erroneous results in forensic disciplines, including bite marks, and highlights its lack of scientific validation. There you go.
Wow.
What do they call him, by the way, this guy? What do they call the bad guy?
Oh, the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what you're calling him, the Tooth Fairy. He's like kicking off in it. I don't know what you call him, the Tooth Fairy. And I kind of, okay, that's fair. And with that in mind, John, I've assembled you a little quiz.
I thought you meant.
Right, okay. So, there's quite a few Tooth Fairy films, John. Mm-hmm. I want you to tell me whether or not this is a real Tooth Fairy film or a made-up Tooth Fairy, or if it is a film that doesn't have the Tooth Fairy in.
I think I'm down on my Tooth Fairy. So
okay, so if it's a Tooth Fairy film, it's Truth Fairy, and if it's not, it's a false tooth. You got it?
I get it.
Let's go. Right, number one, El Raton Perez. El Raton Perez. Spanish language film.
Truth Fairy.
It is a Truth Fairy, John. It's about a rat that works in a pearl factory by day and takes kids' teeth at night.
Oh, God. Pearl factory.
Bad, eh? I know, yeah. Number two, Teeth.
That's a horror. There is a horror called Teeth in it. So that is... I don't think the Tooth Fairy's in it, though.
Okay.
Are you
so
talking
it's a false tooth?
So it's a false tooth? It's going to be?
Correct. It's a film about vagina dentata.
That's the one.
It's a brilliant little indie. I saw that, by the way, in a cinema full of men. It was fucking brutal. A number of them left.
Well
done. You're 2 for 2. Number 3, Rise of the Guardians.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Tooth Fairy's in it.
Absolutely. Animated film about Santa, Jack Frost, Tooth Fairy, etc., etc. Number 4, Darkness Falls.
True.
Yeah, Tooth Fairy. Horror film, Dead Witch, that comes back to haunt the things.
Yep.
And finally, number 5, John, Hellboy 2 and the Golden Army.
The Tooth Fairy's in one of them. I can't remember what one it is. I think it's true. I think it's Tooth Fairy.
Correct. It's those little fairy creatures with no face and just a mouthful of teeth.
Yeah.
Well done, John. 5 for 5. Good
man.
man.
I told you I know my truth fairies.
Good man. You do know your truth fairies. Excellent. Hey, might we just make it? No, we will not. I'm almost out of fact.
Before we go, so I was just looking at people that were sort of connected to or considered playing the Hannibal role, the Hannibal Lecter role. So I've got you, John Lithgow.
Oh wow! Okay.
Mandy Patinkin.
Oh, Mandy Patinkin. Yeah. I am Hannibal Lecter. You killed my father. Now prepare to die.
Oh God,
man.
And Brian Dennehy.
Dennehy Cox, similar kind of shape to them, similar kind of but that's and I probably would think of Lithgow as more the Tooth Fairy kind of. He looks a bit more like
he's a bit more gangly.
Funny that though. Okay, those again would all probably work because they only get like in 2 scenes.
I know. Anyway, no, they really do, didn't they?
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. They don't have a motive, but they know that Will caught this killer Hobbs last year, and previous to that, Hannibal Lecter, who had killed 9 people. The Prince guy calls to explain they've got the partial print, and he's going to try and make an identification out of them. Outside of this office, this character, Freddie Lowndes, approaches Will Graham.
Yeah.
Again, non-union Gary Sinise, isn't he? This character comes in. Yeah.
He's went on to do a few things now, hasn't he?
The Lowndes guy, I recognised him from quite a few things.
And Avatar, he's a baddie in Avatar. And Don't Breathe.
Is that who he is? He's the grey-haired... Oh, fucking hell, John. You are smashing this out of the park.
On fire.
He's in that low loader, isn't he?
Aye.
Yeah, in Avatar. Are you excited for this new Avatar film, John?
I'll be honest, the Avatar, the first one was beautiful, and I watched it, but I don't really need to feel the need to go back and watch it again.
I'm gonna go to the cinema and watch it.
Are you going to do
it? I'm gonna wait a couple of weeks.
Aye.
I'm going to wait a couple of weeks till nobody's watching. I don't know who's going to be watching anyway. Who the fuck's? Where's the fandom for like 6 more Avatar films or whatever we're getting?
Well, it must be. He's played a lot of time and money, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's a lot of goodwill, isn't he? He's a lot of goodwill. Have they not got rid of some fucking Star Wars thing in one of the parks to replace it with Avatar Land or something in one of the theme parks?
Oh, really?
I mean, who the fuck wants Avatar Land?
No,
not us. Anyway, it's Look, right. Let's do more James Cameron films. By the way, let's do
that.
Cameron Timber something. Avatar August. Right, Freddie Lowndes works for this newspaper. The Tatler.
The National Tatler.
The Tatler, right? Not a real newspaper.
Yeah, I checked it out.
But fashion magazine here in the UK started in 1901 as a society magazine.
Right.
That's what I've got. That's what I got for you there. He's basically a bit of a shit, right? But I got to laugh both times while I'm watching this because he'd done things about Will Graham, the character, a couple of times, hadn't he? Previously, different things. And he grabs him, right, and he judo rolls him onto this fucking car bonnet, right?
Yep,
which I am telling you, Lowndes jumps into this fucking roll. I reckon he's got fucking springs on his shoes the way he jumps into this roll.
He really did, didn't he? Studied onto the car.
Will heads in to see Lecter now. Now, the one thing I got out of this, and Rachel and I were discussing this, if you've seen Silence of the Lambs, you'll see a massive difference between the dark and the glass and the moody lighting in Silence of the Lambs when Clarice first goes to see him, and this wholly different fucking white brick room, white bed, white jumpsuit, white bars.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I mean, it was a neo-Nazi's fucking wet dream, this.
It really was, yeah. They went hiding with that, and that's the thing as well. It's not really fair, I say that, but the setup for Hannibal Lecter and Silence of the Lambs just seems a bit more creepy because of the setting, whereas with Brian Cox, he was there. There was he could only act creepy and.
I agree. And the whole difference between this is, you see Silence of the Lambs, you see two shots. You see Lecter and you see Clarice. You see Lecter and you see Clarice. But in this, it's just one shot the whole time, and it does go between, but it's them in the same room at the same shot, and you just fucking hell. It looks great. It just looks fucking great. It does look like a fucking installation that Brian from Spaced might do, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, something for Doctor Who. That's what I thought. I was like, what the hell? It's just
something that Dean would be fucking covering in one of his fucking security guard jobs in that fucking show. Really, really liked it.
Yeah.
But then he kind of against it. He's wearing this black suit with this green fucking shirt and black tie. Oh, I know I'm going on. I just love I love his use of colour. I really do.
Yeah.
Lecter recognises Will's aftershave. And podcast favourite, of course, Brian Cox. Second outing on the podcast after Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Certainly a different kind of shenanigans, this, isn't it?
Oh, God, it's early stuff as well. Yeah.
Of course, we love him. I've got his autobiography, Brian Cox, by the way.
Right.
What we never talk about is the fact that he's one of the voices in the PS2 game Manhunt.
Oh, really?
He's the voice of the director, that's giving your character that you play as the thing. Now, I never finished Manhunt because it shit me right up. It really did. Like games that shit me up, I can never finish. Never.
You're not going to play the Callisto Protocol then, are you?
No, you fucking bet I ain't. In his autobiography, right, which I've only read a little bit of so far, he's got a similar opinion to me on Johnny Depp. I'm going to try and do the voice. Personable, though I'm sure he is. He's so overblown, so overrated. I mean, Edward Scissorhands, let's face it. If you come on with hands like that and a pale, scarred face makeup, you don't have to do anything. And let's be honest, he didn't. And subsequently, he's done even less. What a fucking burn that is! What a fucking brutal burn for fucking Johnny Depp, who is a piece of shit. I'd love to think Johnny Depp has probably read that, or someone probably had to read that to Johnny Depp.
Yep, that's exactly what I did.
And Johnny Depp's basically gone, I'd like to say something horrible about him, but I can't because he's a proper fucking actor. And I'm just some twat that wanders around going, Savvy! So where's the rum gone? I've got to make a pint of wine and I beat my fucking ex-wife. Prick. Massive Dundee United fan, of course. Not Johnny Depp. We wouldn't have him. And during the filming of this, I love this. Tony Hopkins was playing King Lear at the National Theatre. During the filming of Silence of the Lambs, Brian Cox was playing King Lear at the National Theatre.
What?
How is that for some fucking symmetry?
That's symmetry, all right.
Yeah. Oh man, I love him. He's so good. We've done loads of facts on him. Right. Okay. So this is where it starts to get a little bit difficult for me in my notes. Will explains that he wants Lecter's help, and he said to get him to read the papers. Will says he'll let him see the file if he can tell him why he's doing this. Mm-hmm. Lecter takes a glance at him, and he can see from his hands are rough. He's tanned, and the shaving lotion he uses is, quote, something a child would use. It has a ship on the bottle, doesn't it, Will?
Yeah.
Like,
and we all know what that is.
We all bought our dad's Old Spice, didn't we?
Right, high karate, one of the two.
Yeah, both. Yeah, absolutely. I've bought both.
I've got a fact on Old Spice.
I'll go for it.
So William saw an opportunity in 1939 to develop a perfume because there was a lot of women's stuff out there at the time. So it was inspired by the scent of potpourri called Early American Old Spice. That's what it was actually called. Oh. Next year, he tweaked the scent, diluted it, and packaged it in a white glass boy-shaped bottle.
Boy!
And Old Spice was born. That was it.
Wow! How about that? I'm going to go buy some Old Spice. I'm going to buy like some Old Spice. I always have a can of deodorant in my drawer at work. I've got that David Beckham one at the minute. It's pretty smart.
Have you?
But I'm going to buy some Old Spice one.
I've got Axe.
Links Africa.
Links Africa. Oh, the man.
Voodoo.
Oh, your PE perfumes.
This next bit is completely unnecessary, right? He goes to give him the file, right? But he gets the guy in to open up this fucking flap to put the file in, to close this flap, right? But he could have just slipped the file through the bars at him.
I know.
Like the bars, he could fit his fucking head through the bars.
I know.
You know what I mean? Completely unnecessary. But, this guy gets a full day's work, I hope. So good for that actor.
Aye. But he came in quite sharpish, didn't he?
Oh, he done half, yeah.
I remember that.
Okay, I will do. He reads the file, but he admits he doesn't have a theory yet. He tells Will he wants all the future files. And why don't you give me a phone number for me to ring you on? Will's like, no, I'm not giving you my home number. And he leaves.
Yeah, does he though? But he's a bit flustered. He bangs on the door, and the guy fucking takes ages to get there.
He takes donkeys, doesn't he? Yeah, he's obviously out having a tab or something. And Lecter's yelling the only reason he caught him was because they're so alike. He runs out, hyperventilating, and Lowndes snaps him. And we see the newspaper headline, FBI Manhunter Graham consults Hannibal Lecter.
Piece of dick.
Yeah, absolutely. In Lecter's cell, he's got a phone. This, by the way, I had to watch twice to get the notes fucking right because it's so good. This is one of my favourite bits of the whole film. Right. He gets this phone, which has got no dial or numbers on the front of it, just this faceplate that they've replaced. The operator connects the call to his solicitor because he's obviously asked to call his solicitor. He says, "Oh, sorry, I misdialed." He removes the faceplate and, using the metal wrapper from this stick of gum, he manages to get the AT&T operator, right? And he explains, "I'm sorry, I don't have the use of my arms," which is brilliant. I love that. So good, could you dial a number for me? The number is 301-555-6624. Now, before we go on any further, John, 555 telephone numbers in films were introduced in the 50s to make sure kids didn't prank call people.
Yeah.
Love that.
So it's 555, isn't it? Every time we watch American thing, 555, hell.
555 in letters, John, would be JKL if you were typing it on your Nokia 3310. Today, the numbers 555-0100 through to 555-0199 are reserved for fictional use.
Oh, wow.
But in the past, both Ghostbusters and Fight Club used the number 555-2368, rather. 555-2368. So they're both the same number in different films.
Wow.
Excellent. Yeah, so he asks this number. The number's University of Chicago, Department of Psychology. Yep. Can't even read my own fucking typing. He asked for Dr. Sidney Bloom, who isn't there, but they transfer him to his secretary. He says, "I'm Bob Greer of Blaine and Edwards Publishing Company. I've been asked to send a copy of the Psychiatrist and Law Book, but I don't have the address." He asked the secretary to get it from the Rolodex. "Oh, no, we don't have a Rolodex. How about the call caddy?"
Yeah.
And his line is, "Zip that little pointer down to the letter G," which is brilliant.
I never had one of the call caddies and I never even had a phone.
I was going to say, it's one of those things that your nana would have had, no doubt. But yeah, my grandma had one where you had the dial that you turned you had on the phone.
Mine was flat. It was like a flat book thing, and it had a wee bit at the side that he's pulled it down
to the letter, and then it flung open. Yeah, no, my grands did that. I don't know who was on her numbers. Who knows? But the call caddy, I looked it up. I couldn't find one that was available today. I couldn't find one for you to buy. But what I did find was that there's a thing called call caddy, which is a little holder for those noise things that hunters put in their mouths to make the noises of like turkeys and elk and all those kind of things.
Okay.
Those rubber things. Mm-hmm. You can get one of those so you don't lose it for $8.99. But if you go hunting, I hope Dick Cheney shoots you.
Did you notice the wrapper that he used as well?
It was a double mint, was it?
Wrigley's.
Wrigley's.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is amazing. So We've been through this before. I think we've been through this before. It was launched in 1892.
Ooh.
But spearmint was a given, but I didn't know that juicy fruit came out then as well. Juicy fruit's been going for over 100 years.
All right, wow.
Mind blown.
Yeah, your man, the chief in Cuckoo's Nest, enjoys a bit of juicy fruit, doesn't he? Juicy fruit. She explains the address for Will Graham is the FBI at 10th and Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., which is the actual address of that, and I'm nicking that as a factoroonie. He then convinces her to give the home address, which is 3680 DeSoto Highway, Captiva, Florida, which is probably against GDPR, let's be honest.
Yeah, somebody should get their knuckles wrapped for that.
But it's also not a real address. Tell you what I can tell you, John. Why must films lie to us? Why must they lie to us? What I can tell you, though, is Captiva, Florida is a real place. It's an island as part of Lee County, Florida. In 2020, the population was 318, which I assume it's a lot less now because apparently it was devastated by Hurricane Ian.
Oh, Ian.
Last month. Bitch.
Ian Beale. A disaster.
But it also features as a location in the film G.I. Jane.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which I think I've seen.
No, I've never seen
Possibly.
it. I'm not even going to lie.
Okay. On his flight, Will's looking at these pictures of the murdered families. And this little girl next to him sees these fucking pictures and has a bit of a fit.
Yeah, he crashes it, doesn't he? And they're strewn all over the place. I'm like, oh, that's a brassy.
They didn't have the right to film on this plane, by the way, John. They didn't get the rights to do it, so they just turned up with the camera stuff, got it all on board, and just started filming. And when the staff were upset, the cabin crew and that were upset, they just gave them jackets from the film.
Wow!
And then they just filmed this scene, so it's an actual flight that they filmed this on. I love that. That's fucking
brilliant. A jacket.
He's now at the Jacoby house. This realtor is really upset, isn't he? I can't sell it because it's associated with murder. Oh, these good old boys keep turning up and telling everybody about being murdered. Oh, okay, right. He's having a wander around the woods outside. He spots this rope attached to a massive tree, and he finds a Mars bar wrapper.
Did you see the colour of that Mars bar wrapper?
I did. It was orange, like yellow, yeah.
Yeah, orange or yellow, yeah. Which is weird.
Yeah, Mars bars, John, are English, would you believe?
Yeah.
1932.
Manufactured in Slough, I believe.
Yeah, shout out to Slough resident and patron Gavin Belson. Jerry and the Pacemakers, John, were originally known as Jerry Marsden and the Mars Bars.
That fucking with
better name. Better name for a band, in my opinion. Couldn't be a much worse name for a band. He goes up this tree and he sees that the guy's been fucking cutting down various fucking tree branches and whittling things in trees and that kind of thing, which we'll come back to. The reason he chose families with big yards is so he can sit and watch them for a prolonged period of time. Price, the fingerprint guy, can't find any details around the fingerprint at all. The guards have discovered a note on toilet paper from the Tooth Fairy in Lecter's book. Right?
I know, I was like, what?
Okay, interesting.
I'd seen some header, was it Rock? What was that? Oh, what was that?
The Rock. Chris Rock.
No, The Rock.
Rock Around the Clock.
Was that film we done with the plane?
The Rock. Oh, Con Air.
Con Air. So I'd visions of Con Air in my head where they go in and find a bit of toilet paper and it turns out it's a bit explosive and blows everybody to smithereens because it just seemed a bit, we just have to find this toilet real well.
Yeah.
It was a bit shite. So
the note looks like it's got a bit that's been torn away. They chopper the note to the crime lab. I love this, by the way. It took me a little while. It took me the second time to watch it to realise that they were just running out of time and doing everything they could with it, not wanting to damage it. And it took me like two watches to kind of
understand.
Yeah, to kind of get that. They noticed that he separated the pages using a felt tip pen. And when they went for red, they can make out a number of the letter T's, and they realise that they're going to correspond through the personal ads in the Tatler. Mm-hmm. They're going to intercept Lecter's reply with one of their own, saying that there'll be mementos left in a left luggage at Baltimore Central Station. They plan to stake out and arrest him when the Tooth Fairy approaches. They couldn't get any prints off the note, and it's time to return it before Lecter realizes they have it. By the way, did you spot the actor who gets like one line in this room?
Is it Bulldog for Fraser?
It isn't Bulldog Fraser. It's "Take my strong hand, child" from Scary Movie 2.
Yeah. And Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek, yeah.
I think he's in it as well. Bulldog for Fraser's in it as well.
Where did you spot him?
I'm
sure. One of the cops or something?
He was in the room as well.
Is he?
He's definitely in it. Definitely in it. But yeah, take my strong hand. God, he's been gone forever, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
God.
Like, he doesn't age. He's got a fucking painting in his attic.
I loved him in Kingpin. I thought it was just so funny. When he's like, when Harrison's like,
so he is, yeah. I always mix him up with Howard Stern. Don't mix him up with Howard Stern. With Daniel Stern.
Oh yeah,
of the Sticky Bandits.
Bandits.
Yeah. They intercept Lecter's advert, which has a bunch of Bible verse chapters referenced in it. So a lot of the chapters and verses aren't actually in the Bible because they've got higher numbers than what the chapters go up to.
Yeah.
They grab a list of books Lecter had in his cell and head to the Library of Congress. Turns out it doesn't match any of them. And they're going to use Lowndes to help him get the Tooth Fairy because he doesn't read the New York Times literary supplement. He reads the Tatler.
Yeah, he's a classic guy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They speak to Lowndes in this office. It's brilliant, right? I love this. So he only abused Mrs. Leeds so that they'd think he wasn't gay. Unless he molested all his male victims. But he's also likely impotent to the opposite sex and had sexual relations with his mother. And at this point, right, we see Jack laughing. And he catches himself laughing, doesn't he? Because obviously he's in on the joke. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, well, he has to look all serious. Some brilliant acting. Some great acting, that. They get him in front of the theatre sign across the road from their office. I've written here, it's a bold play, Cotton.
It really is a bold play, isn't it? Will it pay off? We'll see.
We're going to see. The symbol that Will found carved on the tree is the Chinese symbol, considered lucky in gambling. It's also a mahjong piece, which means Red Dragon.
Yeah.
The film was going to be called Red Dragon, but after a film with the name Dragon in the title was a terrible success in the previous year, they decided they didn't want to do that because it made it seem a bit kung fu-y.
Yeah, what was it? Double Dragon?
I think it was called The Way of the Dragon or something, but it wasn't that one you're thinking of.
Oh, no, the one with Jason
Bruce
Scott
Lee.
Lee.
Jason Scott Lee. Oh, it was Stifler.
No, Jason Scott Lee. I'm sure he would done a Bruce Lee biopic thing. I'll double check.
You're mixing him up with. Anyway, look, we're not getting into conflated names. Was she? Wait, God, was he not the brother of the girl out of Steps? Was he not in? Was he not in another band?
Jason Scott Lee.
Jason Scott Lee.
Yeah, get googled. It's definitely him.
I'll let you have that one.
Yes, mate. So he was done. He played Mowgli in the 1904's live action.
Of course he
Bruce Lee in the martial arts film The Dragon.
The Dragon
story.
The Bruce Lee story. Yeah. Dragon. The Bruce Lee story. Yeah. Well done. Okay. Hey, we've got a couple of fucking random facts from you Googling something. Good work. Right. So, Mahjong, fucking hell, this was a sinkhole for me. And I've only got like 2 facts out of it.
What a waste of time.
Original Chinese name for Mahjong was pinyin, which means sparrow, because the sound of the tiles being shuffled sounds like sparrows chattering. Yeah, whatever. The standard set of tiles is 144, and it's made up of images of dots, bamboo, characters, winds, dragons, flowers, and seasons. And the game of Mahjong is basically matching and removing a tile until you can't see any more matches. There you go.
Because she plays it all the time. It's annoying.
Does she? She got like a fucking Mahjong on her phone or something.
Yeah. She's got it on the tablet. She's got it everywhere.
Jesus. You've got a fucking Switch and a PS5. What is she playing at?
I know. Well, I think she's got the bloody Switch now.
Oh, the Switch belongs to her.
The Switch is hers now.
And all she's doing is downloading fucking 99p Mahjong games.
I ain't playing Animal Planet or whatever it's called.
Animal Planet. Okay, Grandpa.
Animal Crossing. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah. The listeners knew. The listeners knew what you meant, old man.
By
the way, on this subject, Brian Cox was 40 when he was filming this.
Oh, really?
We have lived too long.
We
have lived
a good life.
Too long. Yeah. Will checks out this 44 Bulldog, which this gun. The Bulldog was a 5-shot traditional double-action revolver designed by Doug McClanahan and produced by Charter Arms Weapons. Introduced in 1973, the Bulldog has been available in the .44 Special and the .357 Magnum. You know that's got some fucking stopping power, don't you?
Yep.
It was the top-selling gun. It was their top-selling gun during the 1980s.
God. The 80s had so much cool stuff going on.
The Tatler story has been run alongside this story about a woman who gave birth 6 hours after she died. A person born in the circumstances after death is called a posthumous child or a posthumously born person. Most instances of posthumous birth involve the birth of a child after the death of its father, but the term also applies to infants who can be delivered shortly after the death of the mother, usually by caesarean section. I didn't want to read any more about that, so I didn't. Although it did make me think about them, the child out of the Fly.
Oh, God, aye. Not Gina Davis.
The Fly 2 wasn't Gina Davis.
Oh, no.
Was not Gina Davis.
I know, that was a bloody shame, man. I love The Fly.
Yeah, maybe need to watch The Fly 2. Previous episode of The Fly. That night, right, the stakeout at the car park in the theatre, I laughed long and hard in this scene, by the way. Will's walking across the car park. Some guy in a jogging suit, hood up, running towards him.
Oh, God, aye.
Reaches into his pocket. Will shoulder barge tackles him. Like, this would have been a fucking flag in the NFL.
Oh,
right?
God, aye. Yeah.
And all these cops fly out. And he's like, take my wallet, take my wallet. It's just an innocent jogger. Will calls them off. And this guy's hilarious shout to the cops was, why are you running in slow motion when I'm being mugged?
That was good.
Oh, I laughed so much at that. It was brilliant.
No, that was really, really good.
Lounds of the Tattler's getting in his car, and this guy grabs him, chloroforms him, and in the next scene, he's tied him up in a wheelchair. This is the first we see the whole film, like a literal hour into the film.
Oh, yeah.
Before we see the Tooth Fairy. Except we don't really see him.
Nah, he's
got a fucking stocking on his head.
I like the way he's got it on, though, just at about his nose.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good idea.
Looked it up. Pair of tights, John, £3.50 at Primark. I assume he's wearing a stocking, but tights would be better value because you'd get 2 for 1.
Exactly.
So you know me, a bit of thrift, bit of Scottish thrift on this podcast.
God, yeah.
There you go. Money saving tips. Just call me fucking Martin Lewis. He's scary as fuck in this, and he is a scary looking character anyway. He talks about. He shows him the picture of the great red dragon and the woman clothed with the rays of the sun, which he says was a William Blake painting. Wasn't the only one. It's one of 4 painted by him between 1805 and 1810. The other 2 of a similar name. The other 2 were the Great Red Dragon and the Beast from the Sea, and the number of the beast is 666. Cheery stuff.
No, that. Reminds me of all the bloody rock bands I used to listen to when I was younger.
He's showing Lowndes slides of the women that he killed. I'm really disappointed he didn't slip in any of his own holiday slides into this.
I know, we have him lying in the sun baking.
This man has never had any fucking sun. You see the colour of him? He's definitely Scottish. He explains it's Lowndes' nature to do one thing, to tremble, which is great. And he basically explains that he's not. He makes him read this thing into the dictaphone. He says, I've had a great privilege. I've seen with wonder and all the strength of the Red Dragon. All I wrote about Will Graham will be made right. To pull him into a trap in Washington. Will Graham, you will learn from my own lips because I was forced to lie. He will be more merciful to me than he will be to you. You will lie awake in fear at what the Red Dragon could do, and I will be a testament of this. And Lowndes is like, yes, I promise I'll tell the truth. And the tooth fairy puts in these false teeth and agrees to seal the promise with a kiss, doesn't he?
Uh-huh.
Basically bites his tongue off, I think is the bit here.
Yeah. Ooh.
Now,
creeps, doesn't it?
This is fucking brilliant. This is I love this. There's this guy sat in the car park doing the fucking crossword.
just nodding it.
And he hears a noise and he looks behind him and he's like, nah, he must do it regularly. Nah, I'm hearing things here. And he goes back to the thing and then he turns around and down the fucking ramp comes Lowndes in the wheelchair on fire.
Oh, God. And you love a good fireman on fire, but that's
on fire, tick.
That's a proper horrible one, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's disgusting. Turns out Lowndes gave Will's home address to the Tooth Fairy. We know 3860 DeSoto Highway. In the house, David Seaman's awake. He wakes Molly up and explains that there's someone outside the house. They head out and it's the cops.
Uh-huh.
They take him to this safe house, this fucking compound with all this barbed wire metal fence.
I have a question.
Please.
Why is it in this scene that she's wearing a Christmas jumper?
She was wearing some fucking sweater.
Yeah, and it had like snowflake or something like that. It's definitely a Christmas sweater. Like, what the hell?
That, sir, is a Cosby sweater. Well, Jesus, you can't say that anymore, can you?
Oh, no, you can't.
Will takes David Seaman to the supermarket, right?
Yep.
The world's largest cereal out. Now, I ran out of time with my notes here, so I haven't got anything on Mr. T cereal, which was really fucking disappointing.
You've got Dracula stuff and all that, haven't you?
No, I haven't got any of it. I ran completely out of time.
Oh, the only thing I seen in the background was something called Nestle Morsels.
Nestle Morsels biscuits, yeah.
I didn't know what they were, but it's basically just chocolate chip.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, that's disappointing.
I know.
Mr. T cereal, John, a sweetened brand of breakfast cereal manufactured by the Quaker Oats Company, 1984 to 1993. There you go. I have a couple of facts for that.
I pity the fool, and it needed milk. Lots of milk.
I pity the fool who don't eat his cereal with blue milk, like that guy out of Andor.
Oh, I've got snack packs. So snack packs are like your version of variety cereal, maybe variety packs of cereal.
Yeah, I spotted those.
Yeah, snack pack.
Okay. Snack pack. Yeah, so there's a bit here with really, really shit editing, by the way, because he's talking to him, and there's like cereal behind him, and then the next one there's Del Monte stuff behind him, and the kids like got coffee instead of Jello. But there's a couple of instances of really bad editing here, but I don't give a shit because it just looks great.
I'm going to let it
go. The kid, he's explaining to the kid that he was sick, that he was in a hospital. He says Lecter was a psychiatrist who was killing his patients. He says, and I got him because he saw a book with words in that gave him away, and he attacked him when he tried to call the police. And although my body healed, it was really hard to get over the mental effects, and I had some of the ugliest thoughts in the world. And I was like, fuck, we've both you and I have struggled with our demons and things like that in the past, and that did kind of speak to me. So such a dry way of explaining it to a kid, but I guess he's a cop, isn't he? And he deals in absolutes.
Yeah, that's it.
This is what it was. The kid changes the subject really well, and he says, "What coffee do you want? You like the Folgers stuff, like Mom does?" And I'm not going to give you any Folgers facts because we did it on the airplane episode.
Yeah.
That little advert on the airplane episode. Yeah. He only usually has one cup of coffee. That's a Folgers advert.
Oh, we can't even use it.
No. Will explains to Molly he's got to go to Atlanta. She thinks he's going to get himself killed. Atlanta PD, John, we've done some of this before on Ride Along. We're really getting to this point where we're going to get to an episode where we get really, really close. And if we hadn't covered that before, we'd have got 100 things. I don't think this is going to be it, but it might be.
I had stuff on data facts and we can't use it because we've done data facts before.
Same. Formed 1873 has an annual budget of $204 million a year, which seems a lot of money for planting false evidence and murdering 92-year-old minorities like Katherine Johnson in 2006. So, fuck you, Atlanta PD. Fuck you.
APD.
All points Dulletin? Doesn't really work. Moving on. So this is where the film changes, right? The last 50 minutes of the film is basically Dollarhyde, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like this character.
Yep.
He's blatantly the Tooth Fairy. He is not a good-looking man, and he is fucking huge.
He's tall. He's a tall man.
He is a tall drink of water. He works at this photographic lab, and he's talking to Joan Allen, baby Joan Allen.
Yeah.
In the dark room about getting the best types of picture to be taken in the dark. Ooh, see what you did there.
There's a variation in the gamma.
Yeah. He offers to take her home, Reba. She's blind. She claims she only got the job because she's handicapped. I don't think that's a word we use anymore. She was at the Riken Institute for the Blind teaching, and she wants to go back to that someday. She likes him because he's very direct. A lot of people don't, John. I can assure you of that. She wants to touch his face and see him smile. And when she goes to touch his face, he grabs her hand. He's like, take your word for it. I'm smiling. Fucking hell, all right.
I know.
With his fucking hair lip.
Yeah, noticed that. It's a bit of a wee Joaquin Phoenix going on.
It does a little bit, yeah. He looks creepy enough, right, as it is. They head into this lab where this tiger's been knocked out, ready for its teeth to be cut. So, is it a photographic lab? Is it a fucking vet's? Is it what goes on in this?
I know.
What don't they do? Do they make is fucking Gru and his minions here? What is going on in this lab?
Or maybe he just knows a lot of vets and took it to a vet.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, on that subject, this is a real tiger, of course it is. But the vet is played by a real vet because that's a real vet on screen. He was in Nam. That's the kind of vet he was in.
Captain Dan.
Yeah. This is really weird because she's stroking this tiger. I would love a go at this, by the way, stroking a tiger. But like it's all the while through, I'm looking at it thinking it's going to rip your arm off. It's going to rip your arm off.
It's going to wake up. You're going to die.
Yeah, absolutely. She's really good at blind acting, by the way. I think she's excellent at blind acting. He takes her home and he makes her a gin and tonic. And now this glass that this gin and tonic's in looks like Brian Potter's vase that he uses for the drinks in Phoenix Nights, when he's trying to get to the optics. Oh, my little blind boy. Anyway, then they're at it.
Yeah, she grabs hold of him, didn't she?
She does. They're at it. Next morning, he wakes up. She's down by the river. He says he wants to see her again, and they agree for him to come to the house.
Not go back into the house. Is that?
Yeah, don't
go back into the house. I've got your stuff.
Yeah, I'll go and get your purse.
Weird.
Will's talking to Jack, says they've identified the tyre tracks of the G7816 Goodyear truck tyres. Will calls Lecter, and Lecter explains he knows Will feels bad, but the act of killing the killers felt so good to him. It must feel like God. God kills regularly, and it feels good to God to kill people. So it must feel good for Will to kill the killers. So that's the kind of that he's getting inside Will's head. Mm-hmm. And then he goes on about earthquakes and God killed 70 Filipinos the other week. This plane crash and all this kind of stuff. And then he's like, "Goodbye, movie. I'm not coming back."
Nice.
And that's the end of fucking Brian Cox as Lecter.
I'm out.
Yeah. Okay. Will heads back to the Leeds house and puts himself in the position of the killer. That night, outside Reba's house, Dollarhyde's parked, and he gets excited when she arrives. He's about to get out. She's been driven home by this colleague. Now, I couldn't quite figure this out. The way the light is and everything, I think must be how he's seeing it, because it goes on for ages, like them caressing one another's faces.
So I think from what I got from it is basically what it happened was when you initially see them at the door, he does something as if he's going to like touch her face or something like that. But then obviously after all the things he's heard in his head or whatever it is, then eventually goes back to him. He's basically just picked something off her. Yeah,
it's just a bit of pollen. Yeah, and then he walks away just like normal. Aye. So I think he'd seen it, and it kind of matches the lighting, which is in the Leeds house that we've just seen in the last scene, where she's got mirrors for eyes and mouth, and she's lit that way. So it kind of mirrored that, and that again, that's the joke. Is that that's how he's seeing things. So he goes fucking mental, shoots the guy with a suppressed pistol.
Yep.
Heads inside, and she's like, "Oh, it's Francis." She's like, "No, Francis is gone. Francis is gone forever." And I'm like, "Yes, here we go." Will realizes the Tooth Fairy wanted to be wanted and desired, like God. He used mirrors to see it happen. He doesn't take trophies and souvenirs. this is the argument between Jack and him. Jack says it's 11:30 p.m. The full moon's up. It's too late. Will says it's not too late. He spots on the video a number of facts. He knows he needed a bolt cutter to get into the lead's place. He also knew that the leads had a dog and the Jacobys had a cat, even though the cat died. He's had these tapes for loads of time, and he's been watching these films over and over again. His primary sense is looking.
Yep.
And this is the whole thing. Let's find out where they got their films developed. Yeah, that's right. So one of them got it done in a shop in Birmingham, Alabama. He said, no, where did they send it out to? And they're both at the same lab. It's some fucking good copying is what it is. Nice. It really, really is.
Excellent copying.
We're now at Dollarhyde's house. She's petrified. And he puts on this 8-track, right, of... I'm not kidding. This is a song I've had favourited on Spotify for fucking years. I love Inagada Davida by Iron Butterfly.
Oh, really?
I do. I absolutely love it. I always have. Right. It is a 1968 tune, John. 17 minutes and 4 seconds long. In fact, it took you so long to get onto this recording. I'd listened to it I'd listened to it 1.5 times before you got on.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, 1.5 times I'd heard this tonight. Brilliant. Fantastic. It is so long. It is the only song on the second side of their album, Inagada Davida.
Right. God. It's got a long instrumental in it.
It's got a huge drum solo of 2.5 minutes, which is exhausting. Here's what you've all been waiting for, listeners, and I know John has. The charts. It got to 92 in Australia, 49 in Belgium's Ultra Pop, 43 in Canada, 30 in the US, and number 7, John, where?
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands, because they love a bit of prog, to the Dutch, and some football violence. It is most famous to me, and probably listeners of our other podcast, Everything We Learned from The Simpsons, as the episode of Bart's Soul, where it's a hymn.
Yeah.
Hey, Marge, remember we used to make out to this hymn?
that old bud was doing well, wasn't she?
I'm playing on the thing, and they've all got the candles. Brilliant. And hang on a minute, this is rock and or roll.
And or roll. Brilliant. I say that one at a time.
I love that. But I absolutely love this. And it, because it's such a long song, it's across the whole scene. Like, he starts it and they're still in the air.
Yeah,
the song ends and he's fucking dead. So they get this data facts that you'd mentioned before through on the plane, and they're basically going over all the fucking. They're going over all the suspects. There's a black guy. There's a woman. There's there's someone with a handicapped driving license or something, they say, and all this kind of thing. And then they get it through on the data facts, which looks like fucking dog shit, but it was the 80s, so the cops meet them at the airport and speed towards the house. Dollarhyde smashed the bathroom mirror, takes this shard, and he's like, who's trying to kill you, Mr. Donut Man? I don't know, but they better not. Right, Will's approaching the property, right, and it's great because he's kind of sneaking through the woods, and as he's sneaking, the music gets louder, and I'm kind of like, instead of like it just going to a scene where the music's on, as he's creeping through the things, you hear the music, and I'm kind of like, I know that's how sound works. I do get that, but it sounded perfect. Yeah. It just sounded great. And then you see Dollarhyde like try to stab her through the table, and then he looks up, and Will's running towards the window in slow motion, like the Incredible Hulk in the TV show titles.
After all that sneaking, he really ruined it, didn't he?
He twats through this window, doesn't he? Dollarhyde gives him a good cutting with the glass.
Oh yeah.
And then fridges him, drops a fucking fridge on him, and Dollarhyde pulls out this pump action shotgun as the drum solo kicks in and starts blowing away this fucking SWAT team, and then walks through this poster of the moon.
I know.
like the wall he's got is like a Japanese rice paper door or something like that. And he's about to shoot Will, and Will guns him down. The bullets did have the stopping power that he said he needed.
Yeah, he pumped a couple of cops out, though, didn't he?
He does, yeah. He twats these cops. Good style. Reaver gets out the house. The remaining backup turns out, and it's this brilliant pink sunrise, which looks, again, stunning bit of lighting.
Mm.
And then we got the final scene where he's reunited back with his family at the beach house. And these shorts he's wearing are the most amazing 1978 World Cup pink shorts. Like, who wears short shorts? And that's the film. Fucking hell. And do you know what? It was such hard... Listeners, thanks for fucking sticking with it.
Yeah, it's a hard watch, but it's beautiful to watch. It's a beautiful, beautiful film.
It's a gorgeous bit of cinema. Have you got any more?
Just that Learjets were founded in 1962 by Bill Lear, but that's it.
Excellent. Excellent. I have got
short shorts.
I haven't got short shorts. No. Mars bars, bulldogs. That's us. Right. How many do you think we've got?
89.
More.
I like doing it when you're counting them up. 100.
More.
105. 110.
105.
105.
Yeah, go back to that one. 105. Fucking hell. I had to count that twice because I just counted 100 and I nearly shat myself. I nearly manhunted myself. 105. Fucking beautiful.
Brilliant. Nice one.
Lovely. Well deserved indeed. Right, patrons. John, we've got some cracking shout-outs this week. SP Film viewers, congratulations to Paul and Sophie, who by the time this goes live will be Mr. and Mrs. Parks.
Mr. and Mrs. Married.
Congratulations. Unless, of course, Sophie decided she's seen enough scary films, Paul, and changed her mind.
Yeah.
We are recording this a few days before the wedding. It's not happened, Paul, lad. You're fine.
It happens.
Yeah, absolutely. She's punching, mate, so, you know, that's a bit harsh. But I just want to be nice to Paul. Right, Mono and Kira from Mono Rants, apparently plotting your next fucking visit to that show, John.
Oh, yeah.
Which must be fucking with Punk's chi, because he's desperate to get you on, and you're not on any fucking platforms he's on. I don't know, he wants to talk to you about fucking Ricketts or something.
Adam Ricketts?
Adam Ricketts. Yeah, what the fuck do you want, Adam Ricketts? Nigel Davis, owner of the Wonder Emporium Tabletop Accessories. Dan Belson's getting his second mention of the podcast. I won't be talking to him as this goes live because Arsenal will have battered us yesterday, likely, in the football. And Gavin Belson, congratulations on your new job in Mordor, Gavin, or wherever you are. More park, more green. They are, of course, the Be Here with Belson podcast. Aaron from Z1 Podcast, an audio drama about zombies and surviving marriage. Joe from Hallmark of Greatness podcast. Happy Diwali, Joe and Harv. I haven't wished you that, actually. I should message you. I know you've not had the best couple of weeks, but we love you, even if John swore at you in the last.
Yeah, fucker. Love it, really. It's that voice.
Josh Wilson coming on shortly to talk the Big Lebowski. And spoke to you in a few days, Josh. Miss you. Gadget, shit at Yorkshire accents. And Stig and Biggie from Modern Escapism, who, by the way, I listened to their new episode today. You've probably not listened yet, John. Mm-hmm. Chilled the fuck out of my bones with their creepy tales of Teletubbies, Wallace and Gromit, and Charlie Brown's school shooting.
What the hell?
Yeah, and I might have done my own scary story for them this week. So listen to Modern Escapism because it is a fucking god-tier podcast. Ian and Maria from Cult Connections podcast doing Andor. I am well behind because it's stressing me the fuck out, that show.
Yeah, it's kind of...
It is so good. It's stressing me out. Plus it's full of great British actors. Phil, Ian and Gav round off the people that pay but have nothing to promote. Rachel has nothing to promote, but she's already had a million fucking mentions because she's got an episode of her own here. So look, give us a quid and we will allow you to do this. John, I'm going to have to add in, I've just seen written at the bottom of this fucking patrons thing, I'd missed a fact. So we're going to have 106, which isn't quite as even a number. But the Prime Movers were a band in that final song in the titles who toured the UK in 1986 supporting Glasgow's Big Country.
Oh, really? Big country.
Big country. In a big country, dreams stay with you. There you go. So I don't know why I'd written that, but I'd written that and it had fallen onto another bit of the fucking document. Big country. Talk about shit fucking Scottish bands. Talk about Scottish music for Scottish people. Them and Lewis Capaldi. Anyway. John, do you want to say something nice to the patrons and the lovely people?
Oh, well, after last week, I better say something nice to the patrons, considering I feel on editing, I think, and maybe it was a bit too harsh. So thank you, patrons, for all your lovely monies. And everybody else, thank you for listening. Thank you so much.
And give us a few bobber. That would be nice.
Get your finger in your purse.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Next week. John, next week, I'm going to tell you what we're covering next week because we've got another guest coming on. We've got a non-podcaster guest coming on, which should be interesting. Yeah, I'll tell you all about it when we get off the air. But because spoopy season is officially over, we can now do scary films. So we're going to do the original, the OG, the gangster Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh,
so I flag off Johnny Depp a bit more. It's my favourite.
I like it. Yeah.
Fantastic. But that's next week. So for now, I've been a bad Brian Cox impression. He's been John Boy. It's been 106 things. That last one I snuck in there. We learned from Manhunter. See ya.
See ya, bitch.